I really notice a difference if I don't do practice. I can feel my breathing get worse, and I'm also way more tired.
Hey, Bronna, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too, Martha.
So how are you doing now?
I'm doing really well, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's changed for you since you started the training? Well, you started about a year ago, did you?
Yes, yeah, almost exactly, maybe.
February of 2023. And
Yeah.
what was your control pause around then?
Oh, really, it was really bad. It was like 8. Hyped it up a bit to 10. But 10 was a bit optimistic, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are the main thing that you've noticed just on a daily basis as to how you've changed?
Mental clarity, that's really improved. Thoughts in my head, they stick around for longer, so I can, if I get distracted, I can then remember what I was thinking about before I got distracted. This is a really simple thing, but actually makes a big difference. When you're writing an email, remembering what you want to say, so you don't write a sentence and be like, oh, what was the next thing I was supposed to be saying? You write it, and then you write the next sentence, and you write the next one, and it all, and you can remember what you said at the start. You don't have to reread it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, it's really little, but it actually makes a huge difference to your quality of life. So memory, I think, was big thing. And another one is irritability. I'm way less irritated than I used to be. My family really appreciates. I mean, they shouldn't have noticed to begin with, but they did, and they appreciate me not biting their heads off every 2 minutes because I'm just not so highly strung anymore, not so super tense all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get snappy with people because you're really on edge. So that's really good.
And would you say that you feel more comfortable in your own skin?
Yeah, definitely. Like, clothes don't irritate me as much. I'm more comfortable, and also just like fabrics used to just, I could feel it and it would just slowly wind me up more and more. And now I'm just like, oh yeah, doesn't bother me as much. Yeah, much more comfortable.
What would you say your control pause is now?
I think it's around 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you've still got a way to go. You've doubled it.
Yes.
More than doubled it.
Yeah.
Huge difference because you've gone from breathing for about 8 people to breathing for 3 people. That's a huge decrease in the amount you're breathing. So the next jump to get to 35, control pause 35, is only going to take you up to breathing for just under 2 people.
Yeah, big difference from 8 to
yeah, it really is. Once the control pause starts to drop below 20, the exponential decrease is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, decrease in the level of health. So don't worry about getting stuck at 20. You could be stuck there for a while. You just carry on and gradually you get to 25. But I'd start doing some physical exercise, training your breathing whilst you're doing physical activity. Tell me something about the change in your energy level.
Yeah, so my energy has, I guess it's kind of doubled. So I used to, if I was doing something in the day, like meeting up with a friend, working, grocery shopping, if I did one of those things, I was completely wiped afterwards. I would just be exhausted. I'd basically go home and lie on my bed, scroll my phone, just dissociate for several hours and get nothing done. And now I can like meet up with a friend and then, oh, I'll go grocery shopping, or after work, I'll go grocery shopping, or I'll see a friend, or I'll do something else. And then when I get home, I could like do one of my hobbies, like I draw and paint. I can do that instead, or I could like tidy my bedroom or do some laundry or tidy the kitchen. And it's amazing how much more productive you are when you can do several things in a day.
Yeah, it is.
So that's been fantastic. Why did I get so exhausted that I would go to the grocery store and then have to lie down for 3 hours and couldn't do anything else like that? That was actually really bad. And now it's so much better. Yeah, I really notice a difference if I don't do practice. I don't do practice. Well, firstly, I can feel my breathing get worse, and I'm also way more tired. And my irritability is like one of the first symptoms that come back, stacking it. Yeah. So it's really improved my life.
It seems like your relationship with sleep has changed.
Yes, I do not need as much of it anymore. So I used to need at least 8 hours, preferably 10. And if I got any less than that, it was, zombie. Like, it was it was not good. I was just tired all the time. And now when I get 7 hours, I feel fine. I used to wake up feeling tired, which you think, I just slept for 10 hours. How am I still tired? But now I wake up and I'm like, oh, yes, I'm ready for the day. I can get out of bed, get dressed. I don't have to lounge around for 20 minutes. And I also used to wake up with a sore throat every single day. And now I don't. I mean, recently I have because of allergies, but normally when it isn't allergy season, I wake up and there's no sore throat. And I don't dream as much either. I used to dream quite a bit. And they weren't very pleasant dreams either.
Those kind of unpleasant dreams usually go along with mouth breathing in the middle of the night. Do you want to say something about the allergy season? I mean, you've got allergies, you've got allergy season. So do you find that your practice helps to ameliorate the allergic reaction?
Yeah, like I used to, well, honestly, I used to have allergies all year round, basically. It just got worse during the summer. So now, and I used to be having antihistamines almost every day. And now I have antihistamines occasionally, like a few times a month, which is a big difference from almost every day to occasionally. Like one time I used to work with my mum at Factory Blinds, making blinds. And one day I had an allergy attack so bad I had to go home. Like I couldn't work. It was so awful. And I haven't had allergies that bad this year at all.
And if you treat it with maximum pauses, it takes the edge off, does it?
Yeah. It's the most effective way to stop a sneezing fit. Because you can have antihistamines, but they take half an hour to work. Whereas pauses work immediately afterwards, just much better.
You mentioned that you used to have nausea every day.
Yes. I used to have really strong reactions to any sort of food, not any sort, but strong reactions to food and any kind of like medication, like coffee, anything. It would just mean I was just nauseous every day for long stretches of time, which makes it difficult to eat if you're feeling really sick. It's a great way to stay slim though. Just don't feel like eating because you want to throw up. It's great. So I used to feel nauseous all the time. And it didn't seem to matter what I ate or what I did. I would just feel sick. And acid reflux regularly, burning up your throat, not pleasant. Also would not recommend. Yeah, and then just through doing Buteyko, I would notice I'd wake up in the morning like, oh, I don't feel sick. I don't feel nauseous anymore. And then you can eat. And the thing is if you don't eat for too long, you get nauseous from not eating. And then it's still hard. And it's just like a very unpleasant cycle of feeling sick when you get up, so you don't eat. Then you're really hungry, so you get nauseous. So then you don't want to eat. And it's not good. It's not good. But now I wake up and I'm like, oh, I think I can eat. And I don't immediately feel sick. It's another thing where it really improves your life if you can just eat and it doesn't feel nauseous.
You said that you were having a lot of trouble with your nose blocking up when you first started this practice.
Yeah, before doing Buteyko, I was like, I nose breathe 100% of the time. Then I tried doing Buteyko and I was like, I mouth breathe all the time. It was quite a shock. Yeah, because my nose would just block up. If I got slightly cold, immediately block nose. If I got slightly stressed, if I was thinking too hard, if anything happened, block nose. And so I remember when I first started doing Buteyko, I just remember one night on the couch trying to shallow breathe, trying to do pauses, and felt like I was just suffocating the whole time. And it would last for like four hours or like a series of hours and then it would, for some reason, it would lighten up again. and I could breathe through my nose. And so it was just persevering through those awful experiences. I just feel for anyone with like COPD or anything where you're struggling to breathe, because when I struggled to nose breathe, at least I could open my mouth and I knew I could still breathe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so unpleasant. And I remember getting sick and like a few weeks into doing Buteyko, maybe cold or cleansing. And yeah, it was just terrible. And it comes back occasionally, but now I can get high enough steps or pauses that I can treat it. Yeah. And then my breathing can line up, and worked out how to breathe shallowly, and that really helps.
I know with people who have a blocked nose, it is a struggle to start with. It's a real war, actually, trying to keep the nose up. And then you don't really have enough of a dose of CO2 to be able to get it open, to keep it open. Your shallow breathing is not really good enough, and it's a battle. But the only way is to do what you did, was to persevere.
Yeah, and it did open up eventually. Like it was awful, but then it cleared up, and now I can breathe through my nose, and it's much better.
What's your maximum pause now?
I think I've got to 80 something, and then I've got to, I think, 120 steps.
Great, very good.
Yeah.
What would you say about your mood? Do you think your mood's improved?
Yes, I really tie in my mood with the irritability. Like I would always be in kind of a bad mood, which is partly why I was so irritable. And doing this, I'm just happier, I'm more relaxed. I have a much more positive outlook on things. I'm like, oh yes, that would be fine, instead of freaking out. So yeah, just my mood is like stabilized a lot. Because I used to have big downs and big ups in my mood, and now it's just chill. Just like, oh yes, everything's fine. Not super hyper, and then I don't get like really down, tired, depressed. I was diagnosed with depressive anxiety disorder, so it would be like I'd get really anxious and then I'd get really depressed. Tension, a mood that was really like cool, and then a mood that was really lethargic because you burnt all your energy being anxious, then you're super tired. And now I'm just much more level throughout the day. And if I do get a spike of anxiety, I can calm myself down again with the breathing. And if I get depressed, I can kind of bring myself back up again. So it's just much more stable compared to the sort of like roller coaster I was doing before. So I kind of feel like you're going crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And as you said before, you don't realize how bad things were until you get out of it.
Yeah, because it's just normal. It's just the way life is. Everyone lives like that. And then you realize, no, everyone was not living like that. That was just you. Well, not just me, but realizing life didn't have to be like that. And for a lot of people, it wasn't like that. It was quite a big realization. It's just made me so much more hopeful for the future. I kind of been like, okay, and these are just lots of things you can't do because you know they're going to be too stressful, or they're going to take too much time and you won't have the energy for it. I'd love to do all that stuff, but I know it's going to be too hard, so I won't do it. Whereas now it's like, no, I will have the energy to do that. And if it stresses me out, I know I can cope with that because I've got the tools to. Looking back, I can see that all of these behaviors that were actually just self-medicating. Just like, scrolling on your phone, looking through just YouTube shorts for hours, overeating, drinking as well. You have several drinks, you're like, oh, now I'm relaxed. Because you don't have the tools to do it any other ways. You look in all these different places to try and find tools to regulate yourself. And then, oh, I could just breathe properly. Now I've calmed down, now I'm okay, and I'm not freaking out.
Very interesting, isn't it? The process.
Yeah.
Fascinating process. It wasn't easy all the time, was it? The actual practice is not easy, is it?
Oh, no. Trying to make myself do it was very difficult, particularly in the beginning, because I had problems sitting still. And so sitting down to practice was so difficult. But once I reached a point where I experienced what it felt like for my brain to kind of work and what it felt like to have easy breathing, I couldn't go back. My breathing would get difficult again and the brain fog would come back. And it was so unpleasant. It was like, well, I don't want to practice, but I have to practice because, you know, do you want your brain to work? That's the question. Would you like to be able to think clearly? Oh, the answer is yes. Well, only one thing to do then. And if you don't do it, it's not happening. So yeah, that's really the thing that kept me going, even when I was lying on the couch or sitting up on the couch, struggling to breathe. It's like, well, the way I used to be, I can't go back to that. But that was awful.
Mm.
And so even though the current thing I'm going through is bad, it's not as bad as what we were living with every day before.
Mm. Mm.
And if I keep on, I'll be able to do things again.
What would you advise other people who are considering doing this? What would you say to them?
Well, obviously doing the course, the beginner's course, was essential. I never would have made it through without doing that. And then I think a mistake I made is I would feel like I had to get, say, 60 seconds. So then I wouldn't practice because I knew it would be hard to get to that. So I was like, nah, skip it. So I wish I'd just done easier practices instead of no practices.
Right.
Because then it would have been easier when I did feel up to doing practice to get to the 60 if I'd done a 45 practice earlier instead of nothing. And I kind of wish I'd done more steps earlier on too, because I can go much further doing steps than I can just sitting. So yeah, try different things and just practice. Even if you don't push yourself, still do something. Yeah.
That something rather than nothing is a very important thing to consider.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's not a competition.
No.
I had the same approach. If I found that it was going to be difficult to practice, or I was in a situation where it wasn't going to be possible to practice properly, I'd remember something rather than nothing. That was a piece of advice that Christopher gave me, something rather than nothing. You just do something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bronna. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Martha. It's great to see you.
Yeah, and it's delightful that you've got such good results.
It's just made me so much more hopeful for the future. The way I used to be, I can't go back to that.